What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Some commentary for you today. Do me a favor, take a moment, hit the like button, subscribe button, criticism in the comment section. Twitter, Shutdown Safety is my username. I have Alex Lewis with me today. Everyone works independently. I know you said that you're not, a developer. You didn't go to college for this. You have a full-time job, and, you know, props for that, your education, all that's good. But, those are also things that, Danny also has a full-time job. Cal also has a full-time job. There's obviously personally and privately a conflict of interest that would occur from everyone kind of pooling all their efforts together to make this one giant merger of a game. So I guess my concern from a
Hold on.
community stand. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say when I say collectively, I don't mean not necessarily like pulling everybody together to make one collective game. By that I mean just possibly kind of like Actors when he reached out to Cal and saying if you need help with AI, I'm here to help you. Not to say I just want to help you the entire game. We're just gonna make one game together. Just to say let's pull together and make something collectively. Just like a lot of the things like we believe that we shouldn't have to kind of go to bring down anybody to bring up to make our game. So like no matter what Cal says or anybody says about us that's in the community, we just don't believe that that's the right way of going about it because we should be working together. It's kind of like actually like I said, he reached out to him and saying, hey, we want to help you with AI and things of that sort. Like that's how we work out. So if people think. We've seen people under your comment section say that, hey, these guys are built all off hype, which in our minds is just good marketing. So if people think that, obviously we have good marketing and, and you say that multiple times on your channel that we've been able to raise more money than anybody else and they, people like Actors need $10,000, then we would be more than willing to help those guys, tell them like what our marketing strategy was and things of that sort to help them raise the money that they need for their game as far as Kickstarter goes. It's not a thing of like, let's all act together and pool assets and work together on one collective game. Because no, we all have different visions for a video game community, but we should all still work together to pool, I guess, whatever our strengths are to help one another build each other's games independently.
And I guess my response to that would be I don't directly know where anyone was outwardly negative against you guys or other. I mean, there are obviously people in the community that were dissatisfied with what happened. And in speaking to you, I mean, I think people can probably get the idea that it's nothing malicious or nothing you did intentional to aggravate someone. But I mean, again, do you understand where someone would feel a little bit misled by the way things have played out? With again, when you talk about those other companies, their function and what they're building on is an entire game. They're putting resources that they have out to the entire development of a complete product that's playable. When you're focusing your assets toward just one specific section of it, it's obviously a lot easier for you to come out with something more impressive. So, just to throw arbitrary figures out, if I have $5,000 to build my game, I have to budget that across every section of the game to create a final product. If you're doing the same thing, your mindset is, well, I'm going to spend all my money on making the stadium and showing what the stadium looks like to generate support. Then obviously there's a little bit of difference between what you guys are doing and what they're doing. Even though you're all working in the same realm, everyone has the same restrictions. I think that's where people have gotten a little bit irritated. Is that a fair assessment of what happened?
I would agree to a certain extent. I do see your standpoint of what you're saying. So yeah, I would have to agree with that. Yeah.
So if we take that same mindset and we go back to the Madden 2006 trailer, which essentially was just their vision of gameplay, and I understand you have a great vision for what you want the game to be, and a lot of us, and myself included, want that to come through. But the problem is the vision is easy. Anyone can have the concept of what they want. The problem is actually getting it into a title and getting it published, and that's where you, just like so many other people, run into the difficulties. So I mean, what would you say
Yeah.
to someone that feels like what you guys have done is essentially the same thing? I mean, you sold the visuals of a game, and I fully believe, and a lot of people don't, I fully believe if the funding had came through, you would have had very little problem completing this project. But now that the funding didn't come through, all we're left with is these visuals.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I completely understand, both standpoints as far as you believe in what we're saying and other people not. But to a certain extent, I think we still kind of fall back in the same position I guess some of the others are when they first started. Because now that we don't have the assets, that's kind of what we were saying in the article, that now we want to, continue to pull our money together, be less vocal on Twitter, and then come back later after we've, created more assets and brought more things to the table to eventually show, to get to the point kind of to where they are. Because, to a certain extent, like you said, we're kind of behind the 8 ball as far as having things that kind of work together collectively as far as the assets go. We don't have players that work and move on the field. We don't have gameplay to show how things work, how the crowd moves and sounds, things like that sort. So now we want to go back and work towards those things to get back on Canucks level or get back on Cal level to show that we have a collective game. All the assets that work together on the Unreal 4 engine when we come back with everything collectively back together all in one, rather than, just to have, so people can say, hey, they just have a stadium and things of that sort now. So I think that's where we are as far as how, to answer that question, like what our plan is now to move forward from there.
And then would it be a fair assessment to say that these are things that you've learned after the fact, after the Kickstarter, after all, has kind of been said and done? Is this going to then change the way you guys approach sharing these assets in the future then?
It's definitely something that we've learned from the whole process, the entire process, mostly from the sim football community of what they expect, because they're more of the harsher crowd of the football community. The casual fan who doesn't know anything about the sim football community, they don't care. They see what they see visually and they're excited. But the sim football community wants to see more. So our goal is to appease those guys because they have higher expectations. So we just want to ultimately bring more and think about how we not portray ourselves, but how we bring content to the table and more so strategically release it on a daily basis. That's kind of like what we touched on in the article, just saying like we're gonna work towards bringing out more assets, but we're not sure exactly when they will be released because they are so expensive, but also because we want to be more strategic on how we release them, because we know people expect certain things to work together and things of that sort. So yes, it's definitely a fair assessment to say that, Ryan.
Okay, well, listen, I certainly appreciate your time. I more so appreciate the fact that, again, I mean, anybody that questions your legitimacy, you reached out to me on my phone, on Twitter, as soon as that video came in and you wanted to make a response, and that's what we're here for. It's a community, we're here to have conversations. I think fundamentally we agree on some things. I can still tell you personally, I disagree with kind of the way things were handled, and I respect your opinion. It's your company, and how you want to go forward with that is your stance, and I'll be glad to always have you on to share information or to have a conversation about the game. And, barring, something really special happening, it's sad for me to know that the Kickstarter is not going to go through, but hopefully you guys can take from what you've learned in this experience, and it sounds like you have, and you're going to apply it going forward to be more successful the next time. And eventually, I really feel like as long as you guys keep up with the passion that you have and the dedication you have to wanting to do this, it's going to come through to fruition in one way, shape, or form.
Definitely. I have to agree with that. We definitely want to keep working, keep with the passion, keep trying, and ultimately, get the field of approval from not only you, but those in the football community of doing it. And it's what we perceive as the right way, bringing more to the table so more people can see how things work with our game.